Like that.
I'm the guy that made the question about raising the hands, and I just wanted to say that it was a little bit biased because you did say who's a MAGA supporter, and I said who's center to left. So I didn't mean to make your class seem like an open, but I do think that in college it's a little harder to express yourself if you're a conservative person.
If you're a more conservative person?
A more conservative in college.
Yeah, what makes it difficult? Is it the students, the professors?
I feel like academia is just more liberal.
It's more liberal?
Like the setting of academia.
Wait, you mean like the business school, or you mean like sociology?
The more vocal and media oriented, then usually the more liberal it is, because at least in college.
Why do you think universities tend to be a little more liberal?
I don't know.
Dude, does one of you want to throw that out there? Wait.
Oh, well, because
go ahead.
Research funding and things like that, which are more liberal based, which is like, for example, Trump just cut an enormous funding in medicine and mRNA vaccines. So that probably makes.
Does somebody, all right, hang on. I want to ask this question. For Jaden, can you answer that? Can you try to answer that question? Why is it, do you think, that college students in general and universities on average will be a little bit more liberal, whatever that means?
Well, I think that like the perception that like college is super liberal is like somewhat misled, right? Like I think that I don't think like many of my professors have ever expressed like particularly liberal opinions. Like honestly, if I've ever heard a professor say anything positive about a politician, it was Donald Trump. Like I don't know.
You mean they've said positive? Yes. Professors are more likely to say something positive about Trump.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if that's like a biased sample set. I think probably most of my professors are pretty liberal. I also think that like to go into like academia, like the kind of person that would pick that as a career path would be more likely to be progressive, like that they value education and knowledge and sharing that with other people, which tend to be values more associated with progressives than conservatives.
Okay, all right. So I have a thought here. I'm just going to jump in on this thought.
Before he goes into his thought, you are watching Marjorie with Purpose. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and we're going to be talking more about this. I just find this so fascinating. So let's get into this together. Welcome, Marjorie with Purpose. So the question in this college classroom is, do universities tend to be more liberal, more left-winged? We'll see. We'll talk about it. I'm going to, watch some more what these students have to say on the topic. And then, so stay to the end and I will share my thoughts.
Okay. When you're young, you have a lot of hope. Like little kids are not, unless they're abused, they're not jaded. Little kids, man, take them out to the park and they stop and they pick up a muddy stone and they're like, whoa, look at this muddy stone. And the parents are like, oh, don't pick that up, it's dirty. And they pick up a stick and they're like, look at this cool stick. And the parents are like, oh my God, a stick, watch out, you're gonna poke your eye out. All that kind of stuff, right? Kids aren't jaded. Kids are like, oh, life. And then you sort of start coming of age and you find out, man, there's a lot of hungry people in the world. There's a lot of wars going on. There's a lot of just problems in the world. We should fix those. Come on, man. We should be better than this. Why don't we fix those? We have hungry, like if a little kid sees someone who's hungry, the little kid's eating an apple, it's a homeless person, the little kid is far more likely to give the homeless person their apple than the parent. Because like little kids are just like, hey, you share your apples. Like, come on, we share, like do that, okay? I have the idea that when you sort of go through high school and you get out of high school and you start learning about problems in the world, the tendency is what you're going to want to do is like, let's fix these. Come on, let's fix them. Like, let's go. And you believe that all these problems are fixable. And then you're drawn more toward a more liberal type narrative, which is like, hey, let's intervene and stop the wars, and let's send food to hungry people, and let's do this, and let's stop poverty. The person doesn't have a job. They need jobs. Let's build houses. We have too many homeless people. Let's build houses. And when you're younger, you're more likely to lean in that direction of like, let's fix the problem. And then as you get older, you start realizing, oh, damn, man, these problems are really complicated. I don't know if we're going to be able to fix this. And that's a little bit different. And that's not saying that some people, even from a very young age, are like, yeah, but they get introduced to ideas that are, you know what, man, the way to fix these problems actually are don't build houses for people. No. What you want to do is you want to set up a system where people learn to, and indeed are forced to, figure out how to build a house on their own. A more, what we would identify as a classically conservative idea. Don't step in and help. Man, people got to do it themselves. Or the military.
One of the things I wanted to just clarify, I'm just thinking out loud. So what he's saying essentially is that children are typically more loving, more wanting to lend a hand, typically, not all children, we know not all kids, but more curious about the world, and then they get filled with the fears of the parents. I do agree that when adults get older, the older we get, I feel like the more fearful we are as adults. It's fascinating to see that.
Most of what militaries do in the world is peacekeeping and various development assistance. It's not killing people and battling people. So if you're in the military, what you learn is you probably never go to war. You're probably never going to shoot your gun and harm another human being. But what you will almost certainly do is go someplace, keep peace, build schools, build this, do that, do whatever, you're going to do that. And so, you learn these things. Anyway, that's my take on it. That's what I think. So it's natural that college students would be like, yeah, we can fix this. Come on, let's go, guys. We can fix it. Like Penn State, we can win a football game.
Just adding on to what you were just saying, I think it's a very different scenario when you're by yourself or when you're in a small group of your close friends versus when you're in a public domain. Because when you're out in society or when you're in a public domain, people often tend to put on a facade or they portray themselves in a certain scenario for whatever reasons they would.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So
I hear that.
It's a bit different when we speak about that.
Yeah, no, it's also different in here, but y'all I don't know.
I just want to say what I didn't know. Okay, so he separated. He said liberal views are more, brief summary. Liberals more tend to be, let me help you, let me do this for you, let me give you a handout, while conservatives are more, let me teach you to do it for yourself. Based on these two factors, if these are in fact the two differences between the conservatives and liberals, what do you think you are? Where are your beliefs? Where do your beliefs stand? Would you say you're more liberal or more conservative? Please let me know in the comments your thoughts on that.
There's also truth, and then there's what's really going on, and then there's the perception of what's going on. So if you have the perception that college students are all liberal, they're all radical, woke liberals, it's like, just sit through this class, and when you're going to listen to your Eva, for example, said, look, we got to make sure that we have lots of different viewpoints up here. She didn't say we have to have the liberal viewpoints and make sure the conservatives don't get to talk. She's like, no, man, we need to have the MAGA people. I want to hear right from MAGA people. That's what she said. So if you have this idea that these three people and any three people are all radical leftists, you're wrong. You are absolutely wrong. And it's going to shape in an unfortunate way what you understand about this generation.
One of the topics I want to bring up is just what you were saying about the military and what nations usually do. I'm sure the National Guardsmen of Illinois would love and are itching to go into Chicago and fix up their city. But due to the fact that local elected officials, say like the governor and the mayor, are refusing Donald Trump's order
Hold the mic closer.
to go in,
Yeah.
they want to push against it because it's Trump.
Yeah, it's politics.
Yeah, it's politics. So on both sides, the liberals and the conservatives want to have their view and be right
Yeah.
at the detriment of the people that they serve.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And it's not getting.
Did y'all hear what he just said? I'm gonna go back. I want to go back. What that brother said, whether he realized it or not, he just solved the whole problem. Let me go back a little bit. What this young man said.
Want to have their view and be right.
Yeah.
Push against it because it's Trump.
Yeah, it's politics.
Yeah, it's politics. So on both sides, the liberals and the conservatives want to have their view and be right.
Yeah.
At the detriment of the people that they serve.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And it's not getting to the more interesting stuff, which is like really the stuff that's far more complicated, man. Yeah. All right, Bella.
I think a huge part about the right and wrong is that
He said people want to be right, even if it's to the detriment of the people they serve. And I think that's what's wrong with so many people. So many folks just want to be right. They're not looking at the perspective. And even I'm guilty of that sometimes, just wanting to get my point across, not really taking the time to understand where the other person is coming from. And I think that's so important, not just in politics, but in life, to understand the other person's perspective, understand another person's understanding of life, taking the time to try to understand them. So it's something I'm definitely working on, but I loved that he said that, because it's about serving the people in their best interest. And sometimes you're not always going to be right. And for me, I'll share more of my thoughts as a perspective from a follower of Jesus Christ. So wait to the end. I'm gonna watch a little bit more of this, and then I'll share more of my thoughts.
we all have different definitions of what we think is right and wrong.
Yep.
I think a lot of things that deal with politics and what we believe is how high we put it on like a morality scale. Like some people may value like the lives of others more than like the betterment of our country. And that's just that. Like some people may think that, giving all our money here is the right thing to do. And that if you want to give it somewhere else, that's the wrong thing to do because you morally believe that that's where the money should go. So I think it's hard to say that we can't have right and wrong conversations because we don't have the same viewpoints on what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah, like everybody's willing to pay taxes.
Right.
They just want to spend their tax dollars on things they want to spend it on. Yeah.
I think what makes up people's definitions of right and wrong is like context in their backgrounds. Like, for example, like everyone in my mom's side, my dad's side, they're all liberal Christians. So like, obviously there's exceptions. I could be conservative, but I am a liberal Christian. And so like, if you're a conservative, you lived in the South, that's all you grow up around. That's all.
And like if you're a conservative Christian living in the South, for example, like you grow up in that,
so it's like a very rare chance that you're gonna be a Democrat in that society.
Or be a Republican in that state.
One thing to add off of that though is I don't think that while like where you grow up in your family and what you learn throughout your childhood obviously makes you the person that you are, I don't think that should also be an excuse. While it's a way that you get to your thinking, I don't always think that just because you grow up in a conservative family, you have to be conservative, that you can't, form your own opinions,
Listen, for example,
the point of this debate is to figure out what is right and wrong. Yes, people come in with their own biases, but the point of this is theoretically to figure that out.
Listen, I will tell you something. So for the three of So for the students who lean liberal, the idea is like, you better figure out some of the stuff that Donald Trump is supporting in this country that is good for this country. And if you don't have anything, if you can't come up with something, you don't have anything, man, that's like studying biology for a whole semester and not even knowing the difference between an atom and a cell.
I love this discussion. So you guys tell me what you think. Those of you who have been in colleges, would you say colleges are more liberal? Me personally, my personal experience, I would say, I don't know if it was more liberal or conservative, but I will say in those 4 years that I spent in college, it felt like every professor's goal was to make sure you believed you left college not believing in God. I don't know we didn't really, I didn't really hear about, political views or anything at that time, but I did feel like an outcast speaking up against abortion. When we were in I don't remember the class, but I said something like, it's that women don't realize that it's a blessing to even be able to get pregnant, and somebody's like, oh, you better watch, be careful, be careful where you're going. And I was so confused, like, why is that offensive to people? I couldn't understand. So that was my experience. I truly felt like it was a mission of college to make sure you left college not believing in God. But for me, because I read the Bible, everything I learned for me was a confirmation of everything the Bible says. The psychology classes I took, the science classes I took, all it did was just magnify the existence of God for me. So I don't know. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you think about this topic. I love this. And I love what he said about explaining the difference between liberals and conservatives. I guess, we're all liberal in some things and conservative in others. So it just depends on the situation, circumstances, your viewpoints and all those things. But tell me your thoughts. Let me know how you feel about this, your experiences in the comments. Otherwise, that's all for that. I love you guys. Pray every day, all day, and keep flying with the Most High. I love you guys. Deuces.